Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. Wow. Okay. If I'm going to do this on Thursdays now, I don't get to shepherd in the weekend anymore. I've changed the time of the live stream for various reasons. And I know that for some, like Mr. Todd here, it's not the best time. I get it. But thing is, you can't make everybody happy, right? And so I had to go with the best time that I could come up with, and Friday afternoons just turned out not really to be it. And so I'm glad I'm not the only one who is okay with this time. And honestly, so Alex, if you're still here, it looks like there's one person watching at the moment, and I know it's going to be that way. Um, I was I was gonna say if there's only one person watching today or whatever, that's fine. I know it's gonna take some time to get used to. For everybody else and for me too. So anyway, but today I wanted to do some I wanted to look through the calendar with you guys. Let me pull up the legendarium.com and kind of want to go through some stuff on the calendar. Loading Google Calendar. There we go. All right. So, nope. Oh, that's why. I was wondering why. Here, let me put this up on the screen. Share screen. Let's just do a Chrome tab. Would be this one. Nope. This one. Let's do this one. There we go. Okay, so here's the podcast website. So yeah, you can see it used to be blah, 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 blah. Used to be that we had the stream on Fridays, and I think it was marked as an all-day event, which was why it was in a solid block, and now it's not. Maybe we can change it back. I don't know if it matters that much. Hey, Red. Hey, Sean. Welcome. Anyway, but yeah, okay. So I was curious if I go back, do I get to go back in time on this? I think I do. Yeah. I feel like some of those disappeared. Oh, okay. It's like still loading it up. That's weird, right? That's I think there was a Monday in February that I missed, but I wanted to get everybody's opinion. What's up, Winbach? Kissy face to you too. That's my style today. Anyway, okay. So I wanted to get your guys' opinion on basically how the show has been going the last couple of months, and and whether you want it to keep going the way it has in the future, or if we should shift back. And I'll talk to you about what some of the challenges are, what I think some of the opportunities are with the way things are currently. The calendar sucks. It just loads badly. Oh, interesting. Okay. So yeah, maybe we'll find a different WordPress plugin. If you have any suggestions, if anybody knows a good calendar plugin for WordPress that integrates with Google Calendar, that'd be great. This was the best we could do at the moment. Anyway, okay, so going back, let's go back to this is January, right? We did The Power of Short Stories with Mary Rickert. Let's see, we did Before They Were Hanged. Kent Lester. That's right, he's the guy that was recording in Hawaii. That's right, I did this one like on Christmas break. That was interesting. Before They Were Hanged. Okay, and then let's go to February. So yeah, we've done some Abercrombie, dipped back into The Expanse, and then a whole bunch of like author interviews and author shelf episodes. In fact, you know what? There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. Let me see if I can find a better way. Yeah, let's do it this way. Okay. This is our Podbean website, and it's terrible because they switched things up, and so you can't. So it doesn't have like our old format. But honestly, I don't care. Like this is not a website that I am willing to try to maintain. It just houses all of our episodes. But if we go back to January, there it is. Okay, so short stories with Mary Rickert. Oh, that's right. We did a Gene Wolfe author's shelf. Abercrombie, Kent Lester, Abercrombie, Expanse. James Kennedy did The Man Who Was Thursday. I thought that was a fun episode. The conversation with S.L. Wong was fascinating. And I just recorded another one yesterday that was kind of along those same lines. Just somebody who was like, wow, okay, so what haven't you done exactly? Oh, that's right. Adam Ross popped by. That's a really cool project that he's doing. And it kind of got my mind turning about what else how could I help with that sort of thing? So that was a fun one. And then Tail Chaser Song by Tad Williams. Tell you a little bit about what we have coming up. If I come back here, because that'll show what we have done. But let's look at what is coming up. Let's see. Last Argument of Kings. Boy, I've got some reading to do. The Author's Shelf. Oh, that's right. Hitchhiker's Guide with Randy Dawn. She's an author I met at the Sanderson convention a few months ago. She was great. Let's see. What do we got? Yeah, this doesn't load very well, does it? Another Last Argument of Kings. Going Postal. That is going to get moved, actually. The episode that I did yesterday, that I recorded yesterday, will go here. Leviathan Falls, and oh, that's right, A Day in the Life of an Author. I had a delightful conversation with Veronica Roth and another author friend of hers, Amy Lukovics. We had a lot of fun with that one, but for those who are here, you guys are gonna. I want you to listen for when that episode comes out and tell me if you can tell how out of sorts I was. Because I had just come out, and yes, I'm revealing it to the world, but really the world is a few people tuned in right now. We'll see if anybody makes it this far in the recording afterwards. But that day, I went to a therapy session that was pretty rough. My wife and I do couples therapy. Don't worry, it's the way I explain it is it's maintenance, not repair. Just like it's a good idea to do some therapy now and then and make sure you're talking things out. So that's all great. But that particular session was kind of intense. It was a little bit rough. And so it was like 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock and then drive home and do the recording for this episode at 1 o'clock. And so it was just like bang, bang. And so at the end of it, I was just like, what even just happened? My mind was so occupied. I think the episode turned out really good anyway. I hope so. But for those of you watching right now, you'll have to tell me if you get to this episode, The Day in the Life of an Author, and you can tell that I was just like, spaced out. Let's see. Oh, interesting. If you go to the Google Calendar and switch to schedule view, you get a list. That's true. I just, oh, you know what? Yeah, I could do that. That is maybe a better way to do it. Oh, well. Craig's going to spark notes Last Argument of Kings. I am not. I'm a good, I don't know, 12 or 13 chapters in, something like that. What's the second one called? The second one's called Before They Are Hanged. For that one, I switched largely to reading it instead of listening because I was like, maybe that had something to do with how I felt about the first book or whatever. And so I was like, I'll try reading it instead. And it did not go any better. And so I've switched back to listening just because, I'm able to do other stuff as well. And you're all familiar with the multitasking benefits of audiobooks. So tomorrow I'm going on a very, very, very long walk because I have to finish the rest of the first half of Last Argument of Kings. And I need to read an entire book for an author shelf episode that I'm recording on Monday. So anyway, okay. When's the first Last Argument of Kings episode? That one is next week. Yeah, 20th. So that is the current plan. I think Ryan and Ken and I are planning on. Oh, sorry, you couldn't really see that. It's on the 20th. We're planning to record that Saturday night, the 18th. And so I'll be asking you guys for questions and comments and all that. So you can get ready for that. Anyway, okay. So, oh wow, a bunch of people pieced out. But for those who are still here, I'm curious how you guys have enjoyed the content that I've been putting out on the podcast feed lately. I've been enjoying it. I like having just kind of, random authors on and having a conversation with them. But the conversation I had with S.L. Wong, and then the conversation I had yesterday, that you'll hear sometime, I think, on April 10th, they're so unfocused and kind of meandering that I think some people will find that fun and charming and interesting because we cover a lot of ground and we bounce around to a lot of different topics, and other people will find it really frustrating because it's not more focused, because there's not like a clear point or purpose. For me, the clear point and purpose with something like the Veronica Roth one that I recorded last week. Yes, we are going to air another one. It was me and Veronica and another author having a conversation, and another one of those kind of meandering, wide-ranging conversations. The point for me is kind of like with the author shelf episode. It's another way to get to know authors, these writers that we read. And so even if the point is as amorphous as that, it's at least something in my mind. So let's see. Josh has been loving it. That's good. I like the content, but I agree that I miss the more consistent focus on a particular book. Yeah, no, totally. That makes sense. And this brings up kind of the trouble that we're running into, and that's just kind of like natural burnout. Burnout is the wrong word, but just falling off. When you have a show like the Legendarium, like we all love it. Obviously I love it. Ryan loves it. But the thing about a show like this is that when it's all a bunch of volunteers, there are other ways for us to get together as friends and hang out, right? that was how we all became friends, or how I became friends with all these weirdo theater people here in Utah. This is how I became friends, and how a lot of us kind of maintain the friendship. But there are other ways to do that, and reading books critically and recording about that, it's not the biggest ask in the world, but 10 years, well, almost, I guess, over 9 years in, it's to the point now where it's like, it's harder to get the group motivated. Partly because it's harder for me to be motivated. I'm not going to throw anybody under a bus that I'm not going to roll under as well. So, anyway, and so that's why I think this year, like if you guys remember, 2020 was the year of Blue Team. They were doing Dresden, they were doing The Expanse. They carried this show. And now, with Todd doing his doctoral dissertation defense this month, gosh. With him doing that, Blue Team is kind of, they've taken a step back, and if I want the show to continue, I'm going to have to step up, but I'm not going to read 2 books a week and do, my own stuff and author interviews and author shelf episodes and whatnot. And so I guess this style that we've been doing here where we do, some Abercrombie and some Expanse, but then a lot of kind of random books and random author episodes, is just a way for a way for me to keep the show going and keep it interesting to me, um, and not have to rely on so much reading and so much of the group. Um, so it's like a break for them as much as anything. Anyway, um, let's see. Oh yeah, Veronica Roth. You like her stuff? Yeah, she's great. She's such a fun interview. Let's see. I find it personally. Oh, what is this? Go away. Okay, I find it personally easier to stick with a series. Yeah, it's understandable. It's understandable. Oh well. Like I think I said this last year sometime. I said if we get to our 10th anniversary and the show still looks exactly the same as it did at year 5 or year 6 or whatever, then like what are we doing? Like we need to find ways to grow and evolve and change. So anyway, wanted to give you guys an idea of where my mind is at with it. So yeah, I'm torn on which type of content is the best for us to do consistently. That's right. Red wants to know as well. She's the one trying to make good contacts. Evolution and mutation. That's pretty good. Yeah, no, it's the way that I say Blue Team carried the show back in 2020. I should also say that Little Red Book has carried the show in 2022 and now into 2023. Who knows what it would look like, but the fact that we have consistent content is all thanks to her. So throw your kudos her way for sure. All right, what else should we talk about today, guys? What else is going on? The Last of Us finished up. We should probably really do a full episode on The Last of Us, but we can. I don't know. It's pretty recent. I don't know if I want to spoil it. The Mandalorian is back. Ted Lasso's back. It's not fantasy or sci-fi. It's fantasy that a D2 college football coach would go to England and be a soccer coach. But let's see. Major props for Blue Team. I'm just glad you left her off of this. Yeah, no more props. She's got enough props. But yeah, if there's anything else you want to talk about, let me know. If I seem a little out of it, it's only because I am. I'm just my mental space has been very, very weird lately. Very like just shifting a lot. Let's see. Have I seen RRR? I don't know what that is. Oh, is that Indian like bizarro action show movie thing, whatever? No, I have not seen that. Let's see. I'd like a third guest discussion, a third author shelf, and a third of y'all doing a series. I think that's about where it is right now. I think that seems like it's about where it is. You know what might be fun? Actually, I wonder, and Red here, I'm workshopping this live on the fly. What if we did, tell me what you guys think, author interviews. An author wants to come on, do an interview for the podcast. What if we invite them onto the live stream? We do a live stream with them, and essentially just like a regular podcast program. We do a live stream with them, and you guys can all tune in, watch live. That's all great. And then if we need something on the podcast release, or maybe we make a deal with them that it will go out on the podcast, but put it on the podcast later. Give it a week or two or something, to you give early access to those of you who watch the live streams. But we maybe some of these author interviews would be good good live stream fodder. I kind of like this idea. I'm gonna need to think about it more, but I kind of like this idea. Yeah, interesting. Okay. You guys thought I was lying in the title when I said nothing. I had nothing for today. Okay. I've seen a lot of takes that disparage the new Mandalorian episodes. I thought that was interesting. For a minute, I thought you were telling a joke because this is so intricate. I mean, if for the internet, it's very mathematically intricate. I thought you were joking. Oh well. Yeah, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure I'm quite in the mood to like just hold forth on the Mandalorian or something. Probably because I didn't. What if we had two? I think we had 2 episodes. I'm not sure. I'm like really ready to get into that. Could talk about Everything Everywhere All at Once, sweeping the Oscars. I can't because I didn't see it. And I know that's wrong of me. That is bad and wrong. But I actually went and looked at somebody's list that they made of all of the Oscar winners, like all the way back to 1968 or something like that. And I realized that like I haven't seen any of the last like 7 or 8 or something. And then there's like 25 years of, yep, I've seen all of those. And then before that, it's like, yeah, I've seen none of those. And so I don't have a ton to say about Everything Everywhere All at Once. It still exists. You can go watch it. That's part of the thing is like, it's, that's time, man. Like I simultaneously realize that I have the rest of my life to watch these movies. I don't need to keep up with the zeitgeist. And then also at the same time, it's like one day I will die and then I can't watch any more movies. So watch them now. That's not where, I don't know. It's weird to reconcile. Okay. Oh, this could be interesting. Yeah, maybe if some author wants to come on, we do a Wheel of Tangents with authors on the live stream. You guys, it's actually you'll like this. Let's see if I can get it here. Look how professional I am. This was the wheel that we took to Sanderson's convention. And it looks like it got stuck. I might need to like loosen it up or something so it'll go again. But it's like a real wheel. Ah, ooh, fancy. And I like this. There was one black wedge, and it was like a free T-shirt. Everything else was like candy and stuff. Maybe we could put something like extra saucy as a topic in the black one. It is a kind of weirdly shiny wheel, isn't it? Once you cover it with marker, it's a little less shiny. But yeah, we had great fun with that at Dragonsteel convention. So, ooh, John Wick. It's amazing. It's amazing. Anyway, so yeah, I like this idea. If we want to have authors on to do Wheel of Tangents on a live stream with an open invitation, well, I guess an open invitation is no invitation at all, but we'll see if we can get, the crew coming through on a regular basis, get Ryan on, get Ken and Todd and whoever else. I'm digging this. Okay, I think we might do this. Go see John Wick. It's a nearly perfect action movie. It really does depend. It's nearly perfect for me, but I did just turn it on with Sarah A few weeks ago, I was like, the fourth one's coming out. I should probably catch up. And so I turned it on. But when you're watching a movie with someone else, a movie that I'd seen it twice up to that point, and when you're watching a movie that with somebody who hasn't seen it, your brain changes gears, or at least mine does. I'm assuming most people's do too, unless you're a sociopath or something. But my brain switches gears into how is this being received by the other person, and with that in mind, it is the flimsiest of pretenses for a story, which is fine because that is not what the movie is about. But for somebody who needs that in their movies, it's not going to be a perfect action movie. Go watch Die Hard. Die Hard actually has a more compelling story to go along with the incredible action scenes. But John Wick is amazing. I love that movie. Let's see. Did you beta read Tress? Have you talked about that already? I did beta read Tress, and we have not talked about it yet. My plan has always been to talk about these secret project books as they are received in the mail, not like when they're released electronically for everybody to purchase. But people are, I'm still waiting. I beta read the goddamn thing. Sorry. I beta read the damn thing, and I still don't have my hard copy that I ordered. And so I've been kind of waiting for people to get their hands on the hard copies before we do an episode on it, because part of it is talking about not just the book, the text itself, but also about the event of these secret projects and all of the mailers that are going out. And so I've been waiting to cover Tress, and I'm still waiting, and we'll see. So anyway, so I do want to wait for that, but I am excited to talk about Tress. I've been excited because, and I'm not going to spoil anything, don't worry. So anybody who hasn't read Tress, you're fine. But I was really excited because I beta read both The Lost Metal and Tress, and I knew that people were just going to lose their minds, Cosmere-wise. There's so much stuff. You go, and it's a 1-2 punch, where, like, before, you'd get a ton of Cosmere stuff in, like, Oathbringer, and then after a while you'd get another big dump in gosh, I don't know what else. Rhythm of War was huge. Or like you go from Bands of Mourning to Rhythm of War, and then Arcanum Unbounded comes out, and so, but they're all separated, whereas the Lost Metal and Tress were like 2 months apart or something, and so it's just like Cosmere stuff, jab, right hook. That was one of my favorite things about the timing on those. I think as a book, and I can bring this up on the show if we ever cover it, but as a book, Tress is better. I think. I reserve the right to change my opinion on that, but I think Tress is the better book. But Lost Metal might have some. I don't know if it has more exciting stuff. It just has differently exciting stuff. Let's just say I like Tress a little better. One of the worst things in the world is showing someone one of your favorite songs or albums and seeing them have like 1% of your interest in it. Yeah, absolutely. It's and it cultivates this feeling of like, you do this when you're a kid or like a teenager, and you're like, oh man, you got to listen to this, you got to watch this, and then other people don't like it, and you're like, you're stupid. I definitely fell prey to that when I was younger. And it was as I got older that I realized, like, oh yeah, no, I like a lot of weird stuff that nobody else likes, and that's okay. So, Tress is better than Rhythm of War, or did you mean Lost Metal or Rhythm of War? Tress is better than Rhythm of War. Wow. Yeah, whew. When it comes to Stormlight, oh boy. Do I dare? Do I dare? I don't know how recommendable Stormlight is going to be long term. Um, I love it. I liked Rhythm of War quite a lot. I want to picture that guy. Do you remember? Was it the 2008 presidential election? Or no, it wasn't even a presidential election. I think he was running for mayor of New York City, and he started his own political party called The Rent Is Too Damn High. That was the name of the political party, and that was like all he would talk about. The rent is too damn high, and I feel that way with Stormlight. The books are just too long. They're too long. Um, Especially, oh, and I might pull back on this someday. It's possible, but um, yeah, like show somebody Oathbringer sometime. Just plop that in their lap, and they're like, I'll never get to this book because there are two others just as big right behind it, and two others that are just as big right after it. And by the time you get to Oathbringer, I think Oathbringer and Rhythm of War both meandered a lot. They did not have to be as long as they were. I guess I shouldn't say they're too long. It's like a book can be that long, but what are you going to do with that page count or that word count? And I'm not sure that I'm really satisfied that things are as packed as they were in like Words of Radiance, or when you get into his shorter stuff, like Warbreaker or whatever. So let's see. Yeah, Josh disagrees. That's fine. That's fine. They are separated. Separated. They're separated into helpful parts, or like separated into parts helpfully, so you can read slowly. Yeah, that's fair, but they're not structured that way. Like I've got the Return of the King. Oh yeah, that little shiny green thing right there. Boop boop boop. Those are the Lord of the Rings Blu-rays. I'm kind of watching through those with my kid right now, and I'm separating them into. I said we're gonna watch 6 movies because these are the extended editions, so you basically get a 2-hour movie on each disc. But they're not structured that way. They're structured as 3 movies. And so you're not getting, like, you get to the midpoint of the 2 towers, and it's like, I didn't get a story. I need to get to the end of the 4th disc to get kind of that arc that was the arc that was created that way. When it comes to Stormlight, I kind of feel similarly. Yes, they are separated, but you're not getting a nice, lovely arc in each section. I don't think you're meant to. There might be mini arcs within them, and some arcs are going to have a great ending, but some aren't. It really is structured so that you get 3 beginnings followed by 3 middles followed by 3 ends in every book, and so I'm not sure I buy that. But if somebody says no way, they're not too long, you disagree with me, that's totally fine. I just it's hard for me to imagine going to somebody who had never read them before and saying, like, here are these 5 books. It's 5,800 pages or 6,000 pages of minuscule type, and I do mean minuscule type with no margins, and it's 6,000 pages of the history of Roshar, and you're gonna get that look a lot. But let's see. What is it? Kip? Did Kip say something? Oh, you disagree with Kip. Oh, I see. Kip said that Tress is better than Rhythm of War. That's what you're disagreeing with. I see. Okay. Endless sad Kaladin. There you go. Well, yeah, but that's but now we're getting like we're digging further and further into this hole where it's like the Stormlight books. Sanderson said before he ever started publishing them, he's like, "This is my magnum opus. This is the thing, the story that it will be the centerpiece of my entire career." Great, great. Um, Now, okay, so now I had my Oathbringer example. You give somebody Oathbringer, and you're like, yeah, and there are two just as big books in front and behind. Good luck, have fun. Um, and so what you're saying here, which I think is valid, because I think Mistborn probably is the better starting point, but kind of what you're doing is making it worse. You're like, okay, here are these three very, very big, long books. Um, Read these, enjoy these. Oh, you're gonna have so much fun. And then there are, five giant tomes right behind them, just ready and waiting for you. Some people would relish that. Most won't. So yeah, I guess when we first picked up the topic of how do you recommend Sanderson, years and years ago on the podcast, it was easier. It was an easier question. Everybody had their different opinions and their different reading orders and all that stuff, but it is much, much more a much more complex question now than it was back then. Let's see. Start with Emperor's Soul. Hey, that's where I say I love that story. Let's see. Tress is a mediocre story with really cool world building. Oh, interesting. So I disagree. It's a bit like when I Tress, and again, I don't want to get into any spoilers of Tress just in case anybody hasn't read it, so I won't. But I'll just say the story is the most classic, probably the most classic story structure in Western literature, and I think it's executed brilliantly. I really, really liked that book. It used to have a different ending. I'm glad he changed the ending, so it made it stronger. But anyway, but it's a super, super classic structure, and I think he executed it well enough that I don't mind that it's there. There's really nothing terribly surprising story wise or structure wise in it. But let's see. This is why I've been saying for a long time, I'm gonna wait until we get book 5 before I start, really passing judgment on the whole thing. And he calls it his. I think he's used the words magnum opus before, but maybe he used a different one. The idea is there, but it'll be like, okay, it's crunch time to prove it. Book 5 will determine whether I'm able to get on board with that idea of his or not. So depends who you're recommending them to. Always Tress is complete, doesn't talk down to the reader, and has a continuous narrative voice. And what a delightful narrative voice. I'm not even going to talk about about its narrative voice, but so much fun. This is what I mean. Like, it's a delightful fairy tale. That's exactly what it is. It's a fairy tale. So has a continuous narrative voice. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. I mean, you guys know, if you're regular listeners of the show, how much I have a hard time with Brandon's style of humor as a general proposition. But in Tress, it worked better for me than it does elsewhere. So there you go. Let's see. I think it's illogical to think that every book, to be great, has to really do something completely new. Yeah, I don't know about, it kind of actually goes to, was that the epilogue of The Way of Kings or Words of Radiance when he's talking about, Hoyd is talking about what people value more than anything else is novelty, newness. We do, and that's legit. I don't think it's illogical or weird. Like if Johnny's saying that it's a mediocre story, and I don't know. I'm kind of reading into that. Maybe have some more to say on it, but Trying to be fair to it. But like, so I don't think that's an invalid way to look at it. It's like, hey, if I've heard this story a million times, I'd like to get some others. But on the other hand, there's value in repetition, and some people love repetition. It's really great for education. It's really great for comfort. Like repetition I think has its place as well. So I don't know if it's not so wrong to disagree, right? Um, there you go. Yeah, executes the concepts mentioned in the afterword really well. Well, there you go. All right. Well, guys, any last minute questions? Let me know. I'm gonna jump off of here and go make dinner for my kids. These streams will generally be about an hour, I think, as a rule, but I'm not gonna hold myself to that and right now. And I just kind of wanted to. I didn't have anything planned, but I wanted to get a live stream out this week at the new time to start the process of getting myself and everybody else used to it. So anyway, so with that being said, thanks so much for tuning in and for chatting with me a little bit. It's actually a balm to hang out with you guys once a week. So I really enjoy doing it. Thanks for coming by. I'll talk to you all next week.